Hello everyone, I am RB Jules coming to you from STO Handmade Jewelry and Craft Corner. Today I know you see a lot of supplies in front of me, and that's what this video is about. I'm going to show you all the supplies that you need to do bead embroidery. So let's move everything aside and we're going to talk about each individual item that you need. Okay. All right. So to start with, you're going to need a beading foundation. They have lacy stiff stuff, and they have other beading foundations of which you can get on Amazon. And first of all, let me say I'm not sponsored by anyone for any of these materials. I'm sharing the materials with you that I use to do all of my pieces, the basic things that I use. So you're going to need a beading foundation that's pretty, stiff, so that it has flexibility to it, but it's a little stiff and it's easier to glue your piece down to and start sewing. So that's the next thing this is the first thing you're going to use. And so next, let's just kind of sit that right there. The next thing you will need is glue. I use E6000 for virtually everything in my beading projects, anything that's associated with beading jewelry, and I need to make sure that it is absolutely secure, and it is very secure. It's waterproof, it's non-flammable, and you can paint over top of it. It is one of the best glues I've ever come across to use in the beading embroidery process. So the next thing, you're going to need a good thread. As y'all have seen, I don't know, this piece of hair on here. As you have seen, I have used Wildfire, and this is pretty much all I use. I have used Bead. I mainly use the Wildfire. I either use the black or the white Bead, and it's waterproof and it holds pretty good, really good, and it's abrasive resistant. You still have to be careful that you don't strip your threads when you're sewing, and I have indeed done that. So, but this is a very good thread, and I use it on all of my beading projects. So that's another thing there. So this here is a faux leather backing, and this is an opaque off-white, and I'm just showing you this one, but you can get backings in whatever color that you need to go along with your beaded piece, so that it will coordinate with the main colors. And they also have faux suede, or as it's called, ultra suede, to use. And as you can see, that this is like just a cotton material on the back, and they have the faux suede on the front. Very good material, very easy to use, very easy to sew through, and it holds up really well. So that's something, that's something else that I use. So next thing, you'll need beading needles. Now, this is a basic beading needles that I've gotten from Walmart, believe it or not. And it comes with 3 size 10s, 3 size 11s, and 3 size 12s. These are the size 12s. These are the size 12s. These are the 11s, and these are the 10s. I generally sew through with the 12s, especially when I'm using Toho seed beads. Toho seed beads and delicate beads, I definitely use them. And you can make multiple passes with that one. But when it gets smaller and you want to make multiple passes, and then you can use smaller needles so that you can make some multiple passes through smaller holes. So there are other brands like John James needles and other types of like tulip needles and things like that. Those needles get more expensive, but you also get a great use out of those needles as well. But I use these needles and they're just fine for me, and I've been using them for years. So this is what I generally use. So I always keep a pair of these small scissors to do a lot of the fussy cutting around the designs once I have finished the sewing. When I get ready to do the next steps in the process to put the piece together and do the picot edging, which I have showed you in another video. So this is very easy. When you use this, you want to make sure that you're using this for the fabric and not using these scissors for all other kinds of cutting, because once you use the scissors for other things, they will get dull. So scissors that you use for cutting paper need to be separate from your scissors that you use to cut fabric. And they're really good because if you can see, they have like a little bend, and it's really good to be able to go in and get into little tight corners that you may have to cut with, as opposed to using regular sharp scissors where it's hard for you to cut like you want to. So you can either use the front of the back of the scissors that will go in between those tight spaces, or you can turn them around and bend, and it will go into the tight curves and corners, and your piece will still come out neatly. This here is a nipper tool, and this is a good tool. You can also use this, and this of course is the top to cover it. You can use this, and then be careful because they are indeed sharp. You can use this to also cut fabric. You can use them to get in and closely cut your threads, which I do. Some people use a thread burner or a thread zapper, as they call them. I do not own a thread zapper, and I definitely I'm not, against using them. I've just never tried it, so I cannot speak on the thread zapper. So I always use a nipper tool. So this is always good and handy. So the last but not least is a pair of chain nose pliers, jewelry tool pliers, that I always keep, because when you're beading, sometimes your needle can get really tight, and the threads can get really tight inside of the little holes when you're beading. So that when you use your little jewelry pliers, it's good to have to pull the needle through, and you want to do that really gently so that you don't break the bead. I have definitely broken the bead, and do I start over? No, I use other little techniques that I use to keep going and being able to move forward. But there are times, depending on how far I've gotten into the design, that I have actually started over. So, but generally I don't. So, but this is a good tool to have by, to be able to pull your needle through the hole gently. And if you see where the needle is not budging, please don't go through the hole, because it is going to break the beads, because the beads are made of glass. So these are all the tools, the basic tools that I use to do the beading, that when I do bead embroidery. That's pretty much it right here. There's nothing more. I just choose the colors, I choose my beads and my design, and then I follow with the other steps, which you will learn as we do bead embroidery projects and other things that I have planned to show you in doing bead embroidery and beading tutorials. So, as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notification button. Please share with other beading friends who may like to stop by and check out some of the things that we're working on here in our crafty corner of STO handmade jewelry. So, until next time, happy beading.